Hello again, Struck. Today I'm bringing you another video for Godfall, and this one is 7 leveling tips for newbies. In this video we would be talking about some of the skills I would suggest taking very early in the game. I would suggest how good stacking might is, which power plates you might wanna pick if you're stacking might, and if you just want to have a little bit easier time playing through the game. What stats you might want to stack in your gear other than might, for example focusing on one damage type instead of spreading yourselves into multiple ones, and some tips on how you might want to progress during the story when you want to farm sigils, when you want to push the Dreamstones, should you rush the Dreamstones or not, and things like that. So I'm gonna start with the skills to level up, and then as we go we would move on to some other subjects, and in the end I'm also gonna talk about ailments and how they work and what we know about them so far. When you first start leveling, you might need to do some things and level some skills in order to get the most out of it. I would say the first thing that you want to level up when you start the story would be either weapon technique, finesse, and shield throw. Those three things would give you some extra attacks. Weapon techniques is probably, I think, the most important thing, and at level 2 I would suggest getting weapon techniques. It's gonna give you good damage, and you have 2 of them for each weapon class. Then you can get finesse for extra evasion, and then shield throw would also be very useful. Now there's something else that some people would consider very useful, weapon timing, but weapon timing is only good if you're planning on parrying, if you're planning on standing in one place for a long time. If you're moving a lot, then weapon timing may not be good for you, but it's also suggested as one of the first things to get. After that, at level after level 4 or 5, where I would suggest to have 3 or 4 points into those 3 or 4 things, I would suggest to start working your way down the middle towards crit chances, crit damages, and other things like that. People are saying, some people are saying that breach is not good, some people are saying that takedowns are not good, other people are saying siphon is not good, some people don't like Sundering Slam, other people put 1 point into it. So for Sundering Slam you might want to consider putting 1 point if you like it. I haven't tested it to see what it does yet myself, but it might be interesting. I've not tested shield builds either, so I wouldn't suggest going for those, but I would suggest, yeah, start with weapon techniques, finesse, shield throw, maybe weapon technique, and then go for the crits, maybe go for all stats. Get soul shatter if you want to go soul shatter, or breach if you want to do breach. Get might. Might is very good. Might is definitely very good. Maybe at the start getting 1 point here, 1 point here, 1 point here, and then 4. That should be at level 5, at level 6, at level 7, 8, 9. And then you can just start putting points into mind and crit chance. Something like that could work. Yeah, it could work fine. So yeah, I think we can move on to talking about something else next. In the early part of the game there are a few power plates I wouldn't mind recommending, and that would be Armistice, which has 4 red, and you can put another 3 red, and you can stack a ton of might on this guy and go all in big dick mode with the might stacking, and just do some breach damage stacking as well. The breach damage is not gonna be that great, but early in the game maybe it could really help you. But yeah, Armistice is great, and another one that's probably one of everyone's favorite until they reach Hinterquo, that's Greyhawk. Greyhawk is amazing, and you can get a ton of might on him if you don't use things like this. For example, if you just use the most basic blue and green ones and just stack as much might as you can and upgrade your augments. In fact, I would suggest, if you find something that's very strong, keep upgrading it. Augments don't have I mean augments, you can still upgrade them even if they're low level, and of course obviously a higher level would give you more stats. But yeah, something that's that gives you a ton of might probably is better equipped on this guy and on Armistice. And yeah, try to maybe don't put too much into vitality and spirit while leveling up. Focus on the might, go in hard, very fast and hard, and hit them before they can hit you and start dodging. Hinterquo is the thing that eventually, once you start doing Dreamstones, you would unlock him, and he's fun. He's definitely fun. I just don't have very good things for him, so I'm not using him with the most optimal things I would want to. But yeah, focus on the might and consider Soul Shatter and might stacking with Greyhawk or Armistice. Again, pretty decent as well if you want, although he's more for a bridge damage. Aegis Horn doesn't seem that great because people are saying tanking is bad, and people who have tested tanking builds are just saying that Aegis Horn in general is not that fun. Maybe some sort of vitality builds with breaching might work with him, but the thing is, see, he's kind of centered around damage reduction, and I don't think there's a decent amount of damage reduction that you can get easily to actually be the tank support, but if you want to, sure, try it. So the too long didn't read, just focus on might and take Greyhawk or Armistice. They're great in the early levels while just doing the story. So I would like to speak about some approaches that I think are very good for the early game while leveling up. My idea is focus on stacking the same type of bonuses. Focus on stacking matching bonuses and build one directional. If you want to go bleed, stack as much damage to bleed. If you want to do weak points, stack as much damage as you can for weak points. If you want to go water, fire, etc., focus on getting as many bonuses of that damage you can. For example, you're doing void DPS as your weapon. Well, focus on stacking as much void DPS as you can from your other items. And getting as much weak point if you're doing weak point damage as possible. In fact, weak point seems to be one of the best things to do, and weak point damage is amazing. And all you need to do with weak points is to make sure that you are hitting that specific weak point on the enemy. I'm gonna quickly show you something about weak points so you can see how to try and hit them. I hope I don't end up killing the enemy too quickly, but you can see I can hit him here, and I'm not sure why the weak point is not showing, but there should be a weak point showing up. Maybe it doesn't show on those enemies. I guess probably those enemies don't have that weak point on the... Oh, there we go, weak point. See how much damage it did. It kind of one-shot him. Let's try and show you another weak point. Okay, I missed this one. Let's try another one. Boom. Do you see what's happening? There's so much damage just by hitting the weak point, and weak point is just amazing. And I think building on weak point and stacking that same type of damage is probably the way to go and the way it's meant to be done. So hopefully this helps some of you out there on their journey to ascending in Godfall. While you're pushing the story, you would encounter some of those hunts that give you sigils. And I would suggest when the game makes you collect some sigils, maybe take a step to take some time to redo a few hunts, because later on you would need more sigils for another story progression. So if you don't want to break your story progress by having to kind of go back to doing hunts, maybe take the time, do the highest rewarding sigil. You won't have something like 700 sigils, you probably would have at best 4 or 5 or maybe 6 once you are in the Earth realm for the first time that it asks you to get sigils. But yeah, take your time, get a few, get like 20-30 sigils total, because you're gonna need 10 sigils here for this realm, then you're gonna need 10 Earth sigils for the Water realm, then you're gonna need 10 Earth sigils for the Air realm. So getting 30 or 40 would be probably fine, and you're also gonna get some wood for your level before needing to do under-leveled content at a later stage. So I think it's worth it, I think it's nice, and you would also have some sort of XP as well while doing that, so it's not bad. Then do the same for the water realm. When the water realm asks you to get earth and water sigils, you would have the earth ones, but you wouldn't have the water ones. So do the water ones a few times, so you can get some water sigils for this realm and some water sigils for the next realm. That way you don't have to go back and do earth sigils on the water realm, and then when you go to the air realm you won't have to go back to the earth or water, and you can just do some air realm hunting. So hopefully this kind of helps you. I mean, it's a personal way of how I would do things. Maybe some of you would like when you reach the air realm to go back and do some earth and water sigil farming, but I would like to do it at one go, and if I knew, that's how I would have done it while doing my leveling up playthrough. So there is another tip and hint I want to give you, and this is for when you're doing Dreamstones. When you're doing Dreamstones, if you rush and just kill the boss, eventually you would find yourself over leveled by the content, and you might not even be able to start the content because you don't have the required level. And let's say you're level 46 but your content is level 48 and it doesn't let you start it until you're 48, and you're gonna have to go back and do some Tower of Trials, and you won't be able to. If you want to go and do Tower of Trials, sure, do Tower of Trials, get some rewards from there, then come back to do the next Dreamstone. But if you don't want for this to happen, you could just, when you go into one of those hunts, any hunt you choose, just kill the enemies inside of the hunt on the way to the boss. Maybe take your time, kill some extra enemies, because they're gonna be around your level. Let's say you're level 46 doing the level 46 Dreamstone. Well, do the first hunt, kill some enemies in there, get close to 47, then end it and then start the next one, which would again be 46 enemies, get 48 maybe halfway, and maybe even get to 48 if you can in that one, and then move on to the boss fight. So this is just my advice. Of course, sometimes you won't be able to kill enemies because the first or the second Dreamstone round would give you a boss fight, and you would probably want to choose the boss fight because of the rewards there. Then yeah, definitely in that case there's not much you could do, and you might need to go back to the Tower of Trials and do some levels for XP. That's just my advice. Another thing to consider is the difficulty. Some people want to play on hard because they think that's the way the game's meant to be played, but it's not really, right now it's not really feasible for a new player to play on hard unless they want the bragging rights, unless they want to wave their EP in other people's faces. Look at me, I've only played on hard. Who cares, really, who cares? But yeah, if you want to play on hard, play on hard. It's gonna be more difficult. The amounts of extra wood you get is not much, but if you do Tower of Trials, there appear to be more open gates after each tower elevator fight. So keep that in mind. If you're doing Tower of Trials, maybe you're not gonna see a substantial boost in the wood, but you're gonna see an increase in the amount of rooms you can select after each elevator fight. Maybe that's just my observation, but I've seen other people say the same, so most likely that's how it is. But if you want to just speed through the story, go do it on easy. If you want the regular experience, sure, do it on normal. I think the difficulty is something you shouldn't ignore, and you should find the most optimal one that works for you. Whether it's hard, normal or easy, just pick whatever you feel confident in. If you don't like one, you can change it and try again the same mission, or change it on the next mission. But there's nothing that punishes you by going on easy and then returning back on hard. If something is difficult and you don't care about your ego, then yeah, go to easy, redo the mission. Maybe you're gonna be able to overcome it. If you can't overcome it on easy, then do something else, level up again, change your build, synergize your items better, do different passive skills and so on. Just experiment, but make sure you take the difficulty into consideration. And here is something that might be a bit confusing to new players, and that's the ailments, the damage over time effects. And that's actually what they are. They are only damage over time effects. There is no difference between bleed, ignite, poison, chill, shock or curse, other than the damage type needed to proc it. It's kind of boring that they've decided to go this way, so I hope I see some sort of improvements. Maybe some things should be able to stack more than once, maybe other things should last for longer, maybe chill could also slow, maybe shock could also have a chance to stun, maybe curse can make the enemies do less damage or take more damage and things like that. In general, right now it's super boring, and that's how it works. So you can proc any ailment if your weapon, skill or proc from an amulet or any other type of thing that does X type damage. If you do that type of damage, you have by default 8% chance to get that ailment procced. If you have some other gear, which could be buff from a banner, it could be buff from a lifestone, it could also be just from your weapon or ring or amulet or any other place that would give you percent, I think it's worded in this chance, let me just check it. Percent chance to inflict ailment type affixes. So if you have any of those affixes, you should be able to do it. And getting to like 20% or higher is easy, because you have 8% default, and then you can get like two things that give you 7, 8, etc. percent, even 9% on a weapon or amulet or ring. And that should be fine, that should be good enough. Keep in mind the stat on your secondary weapon does not apply when you're doing something with the main weapon. It does not get counted. So if I were to check this weapon, chance to inflict curse, it goes here. But if I were to switch to my blade, I still get this chance to inflict curse percent added here. Which is weird, because I'm now equipping this weapon with the water, and this one can actually equip chill. And don't mind my gear is buggy, not buggy, but my gear is weak and low level, and I'm just experimenting, testing things out. But there's definitely a lot of interesting things. See, for example, this one can give me curse, this one can give me curse and ignite, and also damage based on how many elements an enemy has. So there are things like that. So overall, I think ailments need some improvement, but for now that's all I can say. Just make sure you're focusing on the right damage type, and you have some extra chances to do ailments. To get notified when I upload more content like this or similar for this game or other games like it, such as wooters of all varieties, you could subscribe to my channel, hit the bell button to not miss out on notifications, and optionally you can even join as a member of the Struck Club and get access to emotes, badges or other perks such as private tutorials and things like that. And I would like to use this part of the video to thank the people who are currently YouTube members of the Struck Club. Thanks for watching this video, keep it cool, and until next time, Struck Club. Goodbye.